Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello folks, welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck. My name is Adam Arduna, this is my mom Gina, and today our show is going to be on our Boneheads segment. And so with that, as we've done in the past, we have a list of athletes that have...
Athletes and other sports figures.
Yes, or exactly. And it usually they do something silly or foolish or boneheaded, exactly, which is where we get the name Boneheads. And so they do something that something that's happened within the past couple days or weeks or whatever, and we usually have a list of them and we rank them.
Far be it from us to call them out on it.
Well, yes,
but we're going to call them out.
We call them out on it. It's usually something sillier or funny. It's something that is obscure
or maybe a little controversial.
Or exactly, something that's usually controversial. So we have a list and we rank them and we talk about them and just kind of elaborate on what happened. And today we've got a good list of them, and so we're going to just go right into it.
Longer than usual.
It is. We've got more Boneheads this week, so I don't know what that means, but let's go ahead and get started.
All right, well, first, and this is not in an order, we're just going to talk about them first and we'll rank them. Well, we've got Steven Adams of the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's being interviewed after their Game 1 win over Golden State by Chris Broussard, and Chris basically asked him, hey, how hard is it for you big men to have to guard these really quick guards? And Mr. Adams replied, oh yeah, there's some quick little monkeys.
Whew.
So the next one on the Bonehead list is a fight between the Texas Rangers and the Toronto Blue Jays.
Correct.
We're having some major Canada issues lately. But it was not just your normal baseball fight where you clear the bench and everybody just pushes and shoves and says, bring that to me, and then they go back to their... They actually got to throwing bows.
Fisticuffs out there.
Fisticuffs. And the guy's name is
Oder, I believe.
It's some with an O. Anyway, he actually threw a punch and he knocked literally the spit out of Batista.
Yes.
I mean, he got him right in the
Glasses,
face.
face,
in slow-mo, everything came out, spit, all that. Okay. So the next one is our dude, LeBron James.
Yes.
LeBron was interviewed, and we can't call it anything but being salty and throwing shade about who the MVP was, how you define MVP. He was trying to distinguish, is it most valuable player or most valuable to your team?
Right.
And then to add the cherry on top, he turns around and throws shade at who the coach of the year was, which was Steve Kerr for the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, the MVP was Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors. So you're on the list, LeBron. The next one I think we'll probably spend a little bit of time on is the NBA officials and the officiating, certainly through the playoffs. That just as a broad swath needs Bonehead. So we'll talk about that.
Yes.
And then last, certainly not least, your boy, Tiger Woods, was trying to do an exhibition tee-off hole for charity to kind of show off his swing and get back into it. And he's trying to basically hit one off the tee from 100 yards across the water, and he hit in the water not once, not twice, three times. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your Bonehead list of the week.
As you can see, we've got a good amount of Boneheads for this week. And so I guess do you just want to go ahead and start ranking them, or do you want to talk about them first?
Well, let's talk about them, because...
Okay, well, yeah. With the Tiger Woods thing.
Okay.
First and foremost, this is legitimately one of the greatest golfers in history of all time. He is a GOAT, and deservingly so. He gets all the credit that he deserves. All of this stuff is true, but we all know recent history, he has been struggling badly, and not just on the golf course, but in life as well. And so he could be on the Bonehead list for a lot of different reasons, to be honest.
That's a whole other topic. He's on the list, and we'll just say this: you can't hit in the water 3 times.
Well, something as routine and as easy as it should be for him to be able to just hit the ball, to get it on the green to where they were hitting from, that should be something he should do in his sleep. So to me, I just think that was just very boneheadish for him to not be able to get it on the tee. Not once, twice, but 3 different times that he missed. So that's just that on that one.
Well, let's talk about Steven Adams, because I think this is one that it got a lot of press. Obviously, he's from New Zealand. Yeah. He's not from America, the United States of America. I'm quantifying because we're in Olympic season, and South Americans consider themselves American, America. So he doesn't necessarily understand the context of what it means when you refer to people as monkeys, more specifically African Americans, African American males. In the NBA, when you're up against a team who all the guards that you're referring to happen to be African American male, is going to be highly offensive. There are words you don't use.
Yes.
And I'm sure, being from New Zealand, he knows I should never say the N word. I'm going to get knocked out, feet over my head kind of thing. But he was just trying to describe a quick moving like animal or something, and monkey came to mind. Because I've been to New Zealand and I've been to Australia. There's a lot of monkeys, more than people think.
You're down there where it's always warm. There's a lot of green and foresty jungle areas. So
and there's quick little monkeys.
Quick little monkeys out there.
Well, I was trying to think, like, what else is quick? You could have called them rats or mice, because those are quick.
Yeah.
But, you know, so he was searching for a word, and monkey fell out.
Yes.
That being said, I don't believe he meant it with malice. There's a difference between saying something out of ignorance and saying something out of malice.
Right.
He clearly was ignorant. And as everyone else has said, you get one pass.
You get one. You get one. And he's not from here, so that's where the excuse comes in. Like, okay, he probably doesn't understand.
Didn't you say that Americans, like, we do that all the time?
Well, yeah, we're offensive to everybody. So it's just one of those things where, in his case, this one you could probably let go because he didn't realize
When we go to foreign countries, we say all kinds of stuff.
Coming
off
the plane,
we don't get out of the airport before we offend somebody.
Flipping people the bird from the airplane.
You just don't know the customs. Culture. So you get a pass, one pass.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next was the fight between the Rangers and the Blue Jays.
Whew.
I'm not gonna lie. I was actually happy to see
that was more entertaining than Mayweather and Pacquiao. That was a fight. That Bautista fight and Odor, that was a fight, man.
I got to stop you, because Pacquiao and Mayweather wasn't a fight.
That wasn't a fight.
You know what? That was a con job. How do you get money out of everybody around their TV?
You're right.
And that was another one we can talk about.
Yeah, we'll just say that for another day as well. But
I did not even join you that day because I came in. But to your point, that was an actual fight.
They were fighting, and it wasn't just, oh yeah, like you said, the bench was cleared and people were talking mess. They were actually fighting. People got suspended, thrown out. It was crazy.
Well, let's talk about the context. They were throwing the ball at each other.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, baseball players don't always have a ton of contact unless they're sliding or tagging.
Sure.
The pitcher can take that ball and put it pretty much, these are precision instruments here, these pictures. They can put the ball wherever they want it.
Yes.
They were hitting each other.
Yeah.
And they hit Bautista. He was not happy about it.
Right.
So he's coming to cleat somebody.
Yeah.
So this was like, you hit me with the ball, I'm going to cleat you. They get into it. And now all of a sudden it's like, well, let's just handle this like men.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do this.
And throw the bolts.
Well, it's pretty much like the Royals last year. They, the first 8 games of the season, everyone was getting hit by pitches.
We let the league
enough
get hit
is
by
enough.
pitch.
We're going at it. So, hey, I enjoyed it. It made baseball fun for that day. So I was.
I feel like Bryce Harper. Make baseball fun again.
Exactly. So
throw a few punches. Literally knock the spit out of somebody. Yeah. All right. So we got to talk about LeBron.
Yes.
You talk about LeBron.
It's tough because someone, again, kind of like Tiger Woods, he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. He's a GOAT. He's got so much going for him. This was very disappointing, exactly, to hear these comments coming from him, just because this is somebody that gets praised by everybody. And he gets love from everyone all across the world, all over the NBA, from little kids to grown men. Everyone loves LeBron, and here's an opportunity for him to stand up and just be I don't want to say teammate, but a good friend, or another ambassador, if you will, for what was going on, winning the MVP, somebody else winning the MVP, and instead of him just being a stand-up
and being gracious
guy about it, he was throwing shade and hate, as what you were saying before, and it just didn't. It rubbed me the wrong way. And Steph won the MVP unanimously, and LeBron is hating on that. And so these comments were just it just didn't sit right. And so I don't know how, I just didn't like it, and I don't know how you were.
I'm trying
you're
hard
feeling
not
the same
to,
way.
Well,
but
I do, and I'm trying hard not to get even further into the salt with LeBron, because he is the greatest. And I think this is why I'm upset about it, because when you are that good, you don't have to put anybody else down.
Correct.
And what he specifically was salty about was the fact that in 2013, when he won, and well-deserved, he wasn't unanimous. There were a few people who voted for someone else.
Yes.
And now Steph Curry's the first ever unanimous MVP in the modern age.
Yes.
And so LeBron's looking at this saying, look, I was just as valuable, if not more so. How come I wasn't unanimous?
Right.
Here's my problem with that. That just sounds like sour grapes. And when you are as great as LeBron James, you're the next, what is it, Looney Tunes guy, Space Jam guy.
Right.
you don't have to be salty.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, that is so beneath you. If somebody asked me the question, let's say I'm LeBron for a minute. Oh my, I got so much money, I don't know what to do with that. Okay, but they ask you, hey, what do you think about Steph? I'd say, congratulations, Steph. You're a great ambassador for the game. Next question.
Right.
Oh, who should have got the coach of the year? Well, I'm going to congratulate Steve Kerr. Obviously, there's some other good coaches. Name off the ones you think are good. Thank you. Next question. You don't even have to get in the mud about it. It only diminishes you. You're the greatest.
It's a bad look.
It's a bad look.
It just you didn't. It wasn't something you needed to do.
No, when you're that good, look, I'm that good. I don't care what anybody else has to say.
Exactly.
You don't need to do it. And it made him look like what a lot of people have said. He's a spoiled child of a spoiled only child who was crowned king at age 17 and doesn't know how to give love to other people who are just as great.
Right.
Bonehead on my part. All right, so then the last one on the list was the NBA officials.
Yes. Yeah, it's really starting to become
close my mouth.
Sad because it's almost like we don't have officials for the NBA anymore.
You don't.
You don't even know why they're out there, to be honest.
No, you start calling your own fouls, really.
Honestly, like pickup games. Hey, that was a foul. This is a foul. That's what we need to start doing because they're not calling anything.
No.
The most blatant calls that you can see from your living room aren't being called, and it's getting ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it really that they're not calling enough, or is it they're calling so inconsistently?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think more to your point, it's more of the inconsistency that's been going on with the refs, and it's just getting worse. It's getting worse, and some calls that have been made, you could say, okay, that's a foul, but then there are other calls that, hey, you just called this one, why isn't this one called? It's just getting
Exactly. Well, I'll give an example, you give an example. For me, travel.
Yeah.
And I get it. Charles Barkley has said it clearly. Look, folks, traveling just doesn't get called in the NBA. Okay, sort of. Because we haven't turned the NBA into you rebound, tuck the ball, and run down the court, and then throw one up. No, you still have to dribble. Dribbling is the game of basketball. You can't take steps without dribbling the ball. Unless you're in the paint, in the lane, and you can take two. In the NBA, it's 2.5 or a Euro step. Well, we all have watched certain people, no names mentioned, who take 4 steps, sometimes 5. There have been games where they put it on replay. The kid or cat took 6 steps. The other night with Golden State and the Thunder, Russell Westbrook was sliding. He slid. Any movement without dribbling the ball is a travel, and then he picked up his foot and put it down twice. That's a travel right in front of the refs, wasn't called.
Yes.
What was the other you were saying the other day? The moving screen.
Oh, well, yes, the moving screens. I don't even know what a moving screen is nowadays because
downfield blocking.
It literally is just. I don't even know. Basically, a screen is supposed to be a person that is standing still. You can use that teammate as a wall or a wedge or something in a way to just shield off a defender, and the rule is that you're supposed to be you're not flat-footed, but planted and not moving. You can't lean, you can't put your hip out, whatever. It is all over the place, and sometimes it gets called, and sometimes you never get called.
Well,
so I don't know what's going on.
We have seen NBA players look like the Nebraska Cornhuskers receivers from 1992, downfield blocking, locking up DBs,
just
where you
fully
lock
extended
up and
just moving, literally
full frontal extension.
Full frontal extension. Yes.
They got them locked up in the hug.
They're hugging exactly.
And you won't see the call, but then you get into some of these playoff games specifically, and all of a sudden, tweet, here's a call. What?
Exactly.
So anyway, the officiating has been terrible. It's to the point now where it's like, look, if you guys are going to then call up the next day on Monday and say, oh, we reviewed it, you missed that call, there's going to have to be some consequences for the officials.
I agree with that,
because just saying, oops, are bad after you've cost the game, that's not going to work.
No.
So boneheads to that.
Yeah, it's exactly. So.
All right, you ready to rank?
Yeah, let's go ahead and rank them. Okay, so from least to the greatest, I guess, the least boneheaded thing, I guess, for me, I would say is the LeBron situation, just because it was more of just shade and throwing salt. You could see he was more out of frustration than anything else.
Okay,
so I would go with that.
Your number 5 is LeBron.
Yes.
All right. You got then you have the NBA officials, Tiger Woods, the fight between the Rangers and Steven Adams.
Yes. I would also then probably go with the Steven Adams as my 4, just because he just didn't know. He didn't know, and now he knows, so he won't do it again. Number 3, I'm going to go with the NBA officials, because I just think that can be corrected. I think those are things that, hey, it's brought to the attention of everyone now. They need to start calling these calls consistently and being on top of it. Then what else do we have?
We've got the fight,
and
then we got Tiger Woods.
And then the fight to me between Bautista and Odor or whatever is the number 2, because at the end of the day, you can be frustrated or whatever, but you're still a professional athlete. You're getting paid millions of dollars, and if you're out there fighting, break a wrist, especially in baseball where you use your hands, your fingers, you get, you know, hurt by fighting during the game, that's pretty boneheaded. And then number 1, Tiger Woods. I mean, dang, that's just bad. That's pretty bad. That was bad. It's embarrassing. So that's what I have.
Well, you almost talked me into changing my list up. But I actually am going to give Steven Adams the 5 for me. Okay. He's the least one because he's just ignorant. He just flat out didn't know. And he came out and apologized. And I'm always one for, if you take accountability, apologize, you move on. So there you go. I'm actually going to be pretty nice to LeBron here. I'm giving you a 4. I think it's a bad look because you're just better than that. Yeah. But that's a 4 because he was salty. He got his feelings hurt. Right. You know, you want to make yourself look bad, that's how you do it. That's a number 4. Number 3 for me is going to be Tiger Woods. Partly because we just need a whole nother conversation about that. It was embarrassing. It was just, oh my God, you can't do it, man. 100 yards?
It's bad.
3 times in the water?
It's pretty bad.
That could be my number 1, but I'm going to stick with my list. Yeah. Number 2 is the fight. Because I think, like what you said, that you could break your hand hitting somebody.
You're a baseball player, yeah. You need your hands.
Not to mention the whole thing. You guys hitting each other with the ball, cleating each other. That was just childish. Yeah. It was beneath you. Number 1 for me is the NBA officials. Okay. You can't play the game without officials. They're intricate, they're important, but they have a job to do. Yeah. And they're not doing it. It is so inconsistent, it's almost not there. And very often they'll say, oh, in the last 2 minutes, we don't want to insert ourselves. Well, by not blowing your whistle, you're still inserting yourself. Right. This is the number 1 boneheaded thing for me, and we're right smack at the start of the playoffs, not even to the finals yet. You got to get that worked out. Yeah. So there's my list.
Well, that's a good list right there. I think they're both good lists.
Mine is better, and I'm right. And I'm your mom, so you can't argue.
We'll see about that. Well, we just want to say thank you for watching, folks. We will have more boneheads to come because there's always a bonehead out there. And
we haven't got to the Olympics.
No, we've got a lot more to go. So with that, we just